This is the Bridge 99 FM. This is a unique medium designed to link Jamaicans all over the world, to tell you what's happening in your land, to hear from you how you're reacting to that essence of your being, which is on the rock, from the rock. Please join us for the next 2 hours for the public eye with an open mind. The Honorable Pearnel Charles and myself, Ronald Thwaites, are the hosts on this program. We look forward to our guests, and we look forward to your input on this program. The text line and the WhatsApp line is 876-551-5782, and the studio line 876-676-4996. And I'm sure that by now you know all of the coordinates. You can download the mobile app from the Android Play Store and the Apple Store. It's the Bridge 99 FM to the world. Before we join our friends at Jam in New York City, covering the tri-state area, may I welcome you, Mr. Charles? Good morning, sir.
Yes. Good morning. Somebody was saying it's not public eye alone, it's public ear.
Well, indeed, we use all the senses, don't we?
The public must listen, you know what I mean?
They must. I'm interested in engaging you as an opener this morning. What do you think about the ruling that has transpired since we were last together, whereby security guards are now to be considered full employees entitled to benefits rather than contractors with no benefits? You're a union man at the core, you know, and therefore you must have a view.
Well, Ronnie, my view is obvious. You can't have thousands of workers working, some all 100 workers working in a place. More workers, more security guard than other workers. And you say that they are contract workers and not what we would call normal workers, right. 48-hour work with benefits that have been assigned to a worker. Now, to take the security guards out of that force, you deny them of what has been given to workers. Follow me? In other words, you're a worker, you have holiday with pay, domestic
sick leave. You have statutory deductions,
right?
National insurance,
which is one of the most important ones. Because if you don't have a contribution to your statutory, you don't. And when you finish there, with the wage you're getting, very few save anything or invest anything, and at that stage they can't even get
a small benefit, social security.
Yeah. So my point is this: whatever adjustment has to be made, and government is the largest employer.
I was surprised to know that 65% of all private security personnel are employed in some ministry, department, or agency.
Yes, because the government has more offices, more agencies.
Yes.
Each ministry sometimes have several agencies.
Yes.
And you have several offices.
Right.
So they have to be covered.
Yeah.
Day and night, some of them.
Okay.
And so therefore, it's obvious you can't have a security guard out there working. His pension is not being paid for. His health benefits are not being covered. And other things.
So I have a question for you. You and I are both retired legislators. You have longer pedigree than I.
Yes.
How come we put up with this for so long? This blatant abuse.
No. Listen.
Tell me.
There are many of us in this country who, if somebody don't do it for them, they can't do it for themselves. It's like a child. If you are not properly trained by your parents, you're not going to be trained at all. Vincent Morrison and myself.
Yes.
I represented the BITU, Vincent representing the
NW at the time,
with some other unions. We went around Jamaica to organize the security guards into a union. We thought we were almost there. When
this is rich history, you know.
Somebody report to the owners and their organization that John is bringing in union. Tom is bringing in union. And all of a sudden, Tom's contract was terminated.
Right.
John Tab contract
In
was
other words,
terminated.
fired.
And hold on, and the rest of them fire us
Yes, of course, because you put
out of fear.
Yes, of course.
And they blame us, so we make people get fired. So must don't come back to the place.
Yeah, but
Now,
do you understand? Do you understand the how corrupt that is?
no. But Ronnie, I do understand it, and in fact, I also understand the worker who say, "Listen, I don't want you to make me lose my work, so therefore, don't come back.
Yes.
Leave us alone."
No, I understand that, but where you have a system which allows what effectively union busting,
Yes.
and not just to deny the union its dues, but rather to rob. Note my verb. To rob the workers from all those basic things that you, just pointed out that they're missing. And we have normalized that as part of our system for so long. I know you and I, in Parliament, that many times there have been resolutions to try and resolve this. Nothing has been done. Successive governments shied away from it because of the power of the security companies.
No, hold on. Let me disrupt you there. It's not only the security company that you have to blame. If the workers had agreed that they are going to join a union, all of them.
Yeah, but how could they? Because they would have picked them off just like they pick off John and Robert.
No, Ronnie, they were able to pick them off because of those who go and tell the boss this and this and this.
No
and
doubt.
they pick them off one, 2,
No
2.
doubt. No
right?
doubt. Let's bring in our friends from.
It's not only the security guards that have that problem.
No, of course.
Before the domestic workers were organized.
Right.
And I forget her name now.
Yes.
But
I know who you mean.
I'll
soon remember it.
I took her to one of the conferences abroad, and she has never forgotten it. But the domestic workers didn't have the privilege of that.
So I need to ask our Jamaican people here and abroad as we join our friend Erwin Clare at Irish Jam. What is the meaning of freedom of association if we are subject to this kind of scaremongering and vulnerability? Erwin, greetings.
Greetings. Good day, gentlemen.
Good day, Erwin. How you doing?
It's a cool day here in New York, and we're getting adjusted to the climatic conditions.
Hey, when Erwin talk about cool,
I mean, it's a cool or cold.
Jamaica with a dead up there. You know.
Yeah, man. But I'm deading right now. I'm deading right now. Yes.
You hear us discussing the recent judicial ruling, and I would like to congratulate. I think it's Mr. Justice Batts, who very clear judgment, from what I have heard, on this matter, and he has marked a position out that distinguishes him from other judges, and this case is a watershed case. Now it's going to have all kinds of problems.
Indeed.
Because they're now saying is the rates for security guards are going to go up by 50%. Yes?
59%. But could I disturb you? Don't forget what you're going to say. Do you know it was the government agent that took them to court?
The Housing Trust.
It is the government agency that took the security guard to court and get that ruling that they could get the money from them for the security guards.
Yeah. So Urban Clare, we have to. You in the United States are struggling to maintain the foundations of democracy against all kind of attack, right?
Correct.
Even at the level of the Supreme Court. We have to do the same in Jamaica, and the freedom of association is one such right.
Mm-hmm. And you know, Ronnie, you're absolutely correct, because we also see that happening here. We have seen major entities like Amazon.
Yes,
those entities
look at
that have been having challenges
for years
and a pushback on unions. But my question, going back to the guards in Jamaica now, what will happen now? Will they be in a good stead, or we still have to keep pressure and monitor the guard companies to ensure that these workers, in the final analysis, do get the type of income or wages that we anticipate they will?
It's doubtful. I think we do have to keep the scrutiny that you speak of, and I don't know how Pearnel feels, but what is going to happen in the short run is that there many of them who now have menial employment, menial meaning at low levels, are going to be laid off. You're going to hear it say, see, no, You think you're defending workers, and look how many of them are no longer able to work or no longer employed because the people can't afford their services. And there's going to be all kinds of people of another profession that I am proud to share are going to be paid well to find artful means to get around the Mr. Justice Batt's decision. Yes, but all of that is reality we have to discuss. But my point is, why do we have an economic system that is premised upon the diminution of rights, the downpression of ordinary people? It can only work when we do not give workers whatever human person who's in labor desires. Paralyzed shame.
May I ask you to hold your shame for a minute? Look back from where we are coming. Look back as to where we started.
Yeah.
Look back on Coombs and Bustamante and Williams.
Grant. Yeah.
And
Not you.
What war they put up.
You're a wise man.
Well, but would they be happy? Would they be happy? Would they be happy what they see now? Would they be happy what they see now, Mr. Charles?
What's that?
Would they be happy what they're seeing now?
I mean, those men of the past?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. They would be happy. And they have run many bloods. Many blood.
Shed plenty blood.
And many of them shed blood.
Yeah.
Many went to prison.
Sure.
Many were tried for all sorts of things.
And
but
blacklisted.
they break that and gave us an easier way. So
yeah, but that doesn't make us complacent, does it?
No. But Ronnie, even when they join, you cannot stand the complacency.
No.
Because so management is always being asked for more, and management is always being saying we cannot give more unless we get more.
Sure.
So you
so
have
let me ask you a question then. Can we look forward to a system where, in fact, people are paid properly for maximum productivity?
Well, you have stolen my word.
but gentlemen, let me ask you this though, and correct me here. The security guard is a critical ingredient of the mix in government right now, as far as them providing services to government. Am I correct?
You're correct.
You're so correct that they cannot do without them. Do without them.
Along that line, so therefore, the government of Jamaica, taxpayers, are probably some of the major contributors to the guards company.
Yes, sir.
Is there something tied to the employment aspect of these guards to government, mean that certain minimum standards or certain standards must be in place as it relates to wages if this contract is to be enforced? Is that part of the mix here, Mr. Charles?
It's negotiation. There's a minimum wage, right? But minimum wage cannot go to security guards. They have to get minimum wage plus because of what they're doing. Follow me? So they are now going to have to join in with group to negotiate with employers, their managers, for wages, government, and also, so you're going to have to pay some more taxes, or they have to find some money out of what is there to pay, because the government is the biggest employer. You understand what's going to be. But the long and short of what you're asking, Erwin, is that I'm glad it is on board. It has easily come on board by one man, where hundreds of us tried and couldn't. And I'm sure Mr. Bax is smiling when I say, from Pearnel, Charles, congratulations, sir.
That's nice of you.
For doing what I tried so hard to do and couldn't get the employer or the employee to agree.
So what is it in our ment? If indeed, Erwin Clare, Pearnel, Charles, we agree that a proper, not a distorted, labor relations regimen is key to moral principles, social satisfaction, and economic upliftment. Why is it that we have denied it so long, and why should we even have a question as to its immediate implementation?
One word running, because there's a cost to it. The employer has to pay almost a quarter more of what they are getting to the workers, and they may not be able to get a quarter more from their employers.
Okay.
So it is a cost. There's a cost.
Or through productivity.
Well, you know, Ronnie laughed at me weeks ago and said, you know, I never hear you talking about productivity when you're a union man.
Yeah.
But the truth is, productivity is the key. And you can't do it without the security guards, again, in this society.
But if we go back to the question I think that Ronnie posed about the where we are now in our union and the threat to the whole system here, it is an argument to be made that when governments have the mentality of strong relations with business, that there's a tendency to believe that somehow the unions get shut out, or business themselves realize that they have an upper hand with the system, so therefore they can get away with some things from the union side. Because that seems to be the mentality.
And it's going to continue because this system is built upon inequity. And when I hear the Minister of Finance defending it, when I hear people of all political stripes, but particularly those in power now, defending it, I immediately come to the conclusion that you are bound to have on the other side the discrimination and the lack of adequate response for the working class. The working class cannot get a good deal in the system of political economy we have, despite the advocacy and the labor of a man like Pearnel Charles.
But somebody has just called me to say, don't let Ronnie get away with that.
All right.
All right,
Ronnie,
listen.
I was part of those who organized the Bank of Jamaica.
Yeah.
The banking system came in under our regime. Pearnel Charles, Roddy Spencer, the NW guys, Vin and all of that, right? We break through the union. We break through
you've had small but very significant advances. Erwin, do we have to take a break?
Yes, we do.
Okay, when we come back, there's much more. And then we welcome Keishia Thorpe, that teacher who's breaking all boundaries in education. Soon come.
Mr. Charles, what did you bring him as an extra drink today?
No.
But,
he's an Adventist, don't need to drink.
Let me tell you.
Juice.
No, he's just changed his color. He's wearing.
Oh, that is mercy. It's green juice. Says green juice.
No,
you brought him. You brought him some green juice.
Not too far from green. He's blue, right in between.
I tell you, Erwin, this is amusement. Listen,
Yes.
I don't know if our guest is ready yet. She is.
All right.
It's every time we come on this program and join with you, see, we have the elation of identifying someone with Jamaican roots who is just soaring and cascading good things
along with the flag and carry the flag with
every
them
time.
Too,
every time.
And our guest today is one such, because, by the way, in Jamaica, I call her Keishia, but it's actually Keishia, right? So let's get that straight, all right? Keishia, all right? And before I go into the official intro, this is a young miss along with her sister, and this is one time now when we speak about athletics and sports, and that it is a portal and a platform for many things. We may believe that we glorify the Usain Bolts of the world and those who win Olympic championships, etc., etc. But 99.9% of our athletes do not get to that stage. But a major portion of the 99.9% go on to become global ambassadors and doing well in the world. Miss Thorpe is one such. And gentlemen, we are pleased to have with us a person who has won, we could call it the Nobel Peace Prize, the version to teacher. She was a teacher of the world, and I want to call it the Global Teacher Prize. She won last year, and it netted her $1 million. $1 million. So it's serious business. This, and her bio just goes on to show Ronnie and Pearnel just a kind of work that she has done over the years. She has gotten awards from the governor of Maryland as a life changer. She has been doing great things in Jamaica, where she gives back, because she comes back to Jamaica and provides opportunities for students to migrate and study in the United States. This is what this woman is all about, and we are pleased to have her as our guest today.
Morning, teacher.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
Nice to have you again.
Thank you, Erwin, for that wonderful, bio. It's always a pleasure to be on a platform with you, Erwin.
Thank you much. Thank you much.
Oh, you're always on. You're on platform, isn't it?
Thank you all so much for having me.
Sure.
It's
a pleasure.
always a great opportunity to be
Welcome
to go
home.
back home,
Yes,
whether
ma'am.
it's either on virtually
Yes.
or in person.
Or in
It's always an
person.
opportunity to go back home.
Well, that's great. Remind us again of your Jamaican roots, Keishia. You're born here. Where you went to school?
I went to St. Andrew High School for girls.
You've told us that before.
That's
Yes.
my alma mater.
Sure.
Yes.
Stush people, but
man.
excellent people who have done so many people, so many St. Andrew girls have kept us, have done great, continue to do great things.
Yes.
And is it difficult for a person who's doing the kind of groundbreaking work you do to keep in touch with Jamaica, to have the links that can make us proud too?
No, I mean, I would not say it's difficult. I think when you have a passion for the work that you have done, that you're doing, and when you think that it's a calling, that you're really called to do this work, I don't think that it becomes difficult. Yes, there are challenges that we all experience along the way, and and trying to live out our passion, and really trying to do the things that we want to do to help progress. But at the end of the day, on an individual level, it's not difficult, because when they say where there's a will, there's a way. You just have to find, if a door doesn't get open, you have to find yourself climbing through a window, because if you want to make it happen, you're going to make it happen. And I'm a very spiritual person, and I think that everything happens for a reason, and wherever God wants you to be, he'll create those openings for you to be there, and create the resources for you to make the things that he wants to have happen in your life.
Well, that's
or
wonderful.
Impact the change that you want to see.
Yes, but the reason I asked, Erwin, Keishia, Pearnel, is because one of the big questions is, how do we maintain the links and strengthen them across distances, across generations? One of the most gratifying things for us here as we reach out to the diaspora is that people, even if they're not first generation migrants like you are, their children and their grandchildren somehow feel drawn, connected with our country. That's a great spiritual bonus, isn't it?
It is. I have a daughter. This is her freshman year in college. Yes, I do have a daughter.
Yes, good.
And one of the things that I wanted to, because I left Jamaica young, and I've spent most of my life in the U.S. One of the things that I really wanted her to do is to be able to connect with my culture, to understand who I am, to understand where I'm coming from. And so one opportunity that I had was to create a study abroad exchange program for her, where she was able to go back to St. Andrew High School and spend some time there.
Really?
With being in the environment that I came from, being with the students, being with the culture, understand, and just learning what it means to be Jamaican.
That's wonderful. That's a very good example. Tell us now about the Global Education Teacher Summit, that we're anxious to know more and to participate in admiration of all that's going to mean.
Yeah, so before I say that, I would like to say we also have a annual scholarship and athletic convention and college fair that my nonprofit organization hosts in Jamaica annually. During the pandemic, we did it virtually, but we're coming back in person in Jamaica at the Jamaica Conference Centre on November 5th, 2022. So in a few weeks, from now, we're going to be hosting the College and Athletic Convention and College Fair at the Jamaica Conference Centre. And we want to make sure that all students and athletes who desire to go to college come out. We want coaches and parents to come out and get the information. There have been so many different updates about what college looks like and what college education looks like, and scholarship in the different changes in scholarship application and NCAA requirements. And of course, we know the different policies that have changed as well, where student athletes are now able to get paid for their brand. So there's so many things that they have to know. And also just the landscape of America has changed when it comes to politics and race and all of those different things. And so we want to make sure that all of our students who desire to transition to come into college in the U.S. are equipped with the knowledge.
Oh, that's very important.
With everything that they need in order to be successful in this environment.
Can we make a note to cover that? We'd love to share that with a wider audience. That's great.
Indeed.
Good news.
Ronnie, before she goes on, so I think it goes back to what I said as I brought up the sports side to her. it goes back to her influences, and I have to take pause now how we met and just highlight in his memory Mr. Messam, because I know he played a significant role in Keishia's life into what she's doing now, because she has gone through the processes of understanding the challenges of entering college, when you need scholarships, the ins and outs. And so we have a situation where it's a payback, it's a give back. And that's the benefit, the collateral benefit of sports and many of our individuals who have gone on, left the shores, but have not forgotten Jamaica.
I mean, let me hasten to say, the amount of Jamaicans who are abroad who are contributing to Jamaica, to our Jamaican people, right, is amazing. We don't give so much enough recognition to it.
Well, I think that's what we're trying to do.
Are there more Jamaicans abroad than Jamaicans
Well,
here?
this is it. And when Keishia tells us about this college fair that's coming up, that's unique. That's a big opportunity that most of our people don't have any option, any alternative for. That's really, really good. And so many hundreds and thousands of us have benefited from having access to college, in college education, tertiary education, without without prejudice to anything that we offer locally, which is very good too. But this is really good. What date did you say again, Keishia?
It's going to be on November 5th at the
5th.
Jamaica Conference Centre.
Good news.
Yes.
Fine. We'll cover that. Can I go back and ask you about the Teacher Summit now? Many teachers in Jamaica would be craning their ears. The profession feels as if it's in a bit of a doldrums coming out of COVID and with all of the usual difficulties.
And I would believe that you have touched base with all our teacher colleges in Jamaica.
I'm sure that they will hear of this.
And
sure.
You know, because this should be something to inspire senior teachers, senior students, and some of the universities that are having teaching courses.
They may see that as sure. Let's hear about the summit.
Yes. So the summit is just another way for me to use my platform to really bring teachers together collectively. So, the pandemic has been really hard on a lot of us. And so I have the opportunity of being a part of a global network of teachers where we share collectively, we support each other. And I really want to bring that to Jamaica. So I'm bringing essentially some of the top teachers from across the world just to come to Jamaica so that we can engage in knowledge sharing, we can engage in building the capacity of teachers, skilling them, upskilling them, and reskilling them, because since the pandemic, we know that a lot of teachers have expressed needs in different areas of training. We're now moving into a more modern way of teaching students, and our students we consider modern students. They don't learn the same way they did before. And so we have teachers across the world who have best practices, who are achieving great results, including myself, from their practices in the classroom. And we want to be able to share that. There's no need to reinvent the wheel when we have people in the education sector that are doing such great work. One of the things that we're doing is also collaborating with the Minister of Education and the Jamaica Teachers Association. We also we're also endorsed by the Varkey Foundation and the OECD, which is one of the largest education research organization in the world that does a lot of work as well in the Caribbean with education. And so the theme of the summit is really to think about redesigning the future of education. What does the future of education look like? How do we create more equity? How do we create more opportunities to increase literacy, especially for early childhood education? And how do we train our teachers to be able and equip them with the skills that they need to go in the classroom and not feel so overburdened? And of course, we know right now there are a lot of teachers that are leaving the profession because they don't feel trained to deal with the population of students that come in front of them and the challenges, and they don't feel supported. So what can we do as a school community and an education community to make sure that we are offering teachers that level of support? So I want all teachers in Jamaica, if you are a teacher, a master teacher, or a professor that have best practices, we want you to register on our website at uselite.org to be a speaker. And if you are someone who just wants funds of knowledge and to build your teaching capacity, also register at uselite.org and come out and get some information and network with the world's best teachers.
Well, that's very good. We look forward to that. What we would love is to be able to have a mutual collaboration, because we have a good system too. In many instances, there are lots of teachers there who perform extremely well when they go abroad, and our students do too.
Yes.
US Elite, US and then ELITE.org.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's the website, uselite.org, and the teachers Summit, Global Education Teacher Summit, will be held in January.
Yes.
January 21st, 2023. So we still have a little bit more time. So teachers definitely get on board. And like you said, there are master teachers in Jamaica, and what we want happening is that we don't want teachers to close their doors anymore. We don't want teachers to be gatekeepers of knowledge. We want to have this open sharing. There are great things that are happening in Jamaican classrooms. So we're creating that space for teachers, master teachers, to come out and share that with other teachers in Jamaica and also other teachers across the world.
I want to ask a question of Keishia and of Pearnel and Irwin. One of the real problems we have is not just in the performing well in the classical subjects, the academic and vocational disciplines, but it is in the cultivating of proper values, habits among our students in schools, because, well, in our communities and some of our homes, the base is not there for that. Keishia, I'm sure you have these considerations and concerns in the United States as well. Can we put an emphasis on value-based education as well as passing all the right exams?
Yes, I definitely believe character education is so important. Making sure that we're catering to students' social, emotional learning and development is really key. Another key aspect of that is adult literacy, right? So when we have essentially a lot of our students from the vulnerable population comes from homes where adults in their home are not literate, and so we also see that research when students come from homes that have adults that have more education, yes, there's more value placed on education. There are more values placed on character development. There's more value placed on there are more core values that students take and bring into those classrooms that we're able to develop on. Students are able to manage conflicts. They're able to manage themselves well. They're able to make more responsible decisions. So that's a great piece that is left out of education, which is character education, which we definitely need to bring back. And we need to start that, not at high school, that needs to start at the early childhood level.
Indeed.
Okay.
Gentlemen,
Can I disturb you right there?
No, but could you hold a sec, though, because we have to follow some rules and regs here. We have to take a break now. When we come back,
we just have a few more minutes.
Okay,
Pearnel,
good.
you lead.
Gentlemen and lady, our guest, Dr. Keishia Thorpe.
Pearnel, you want to?
Yes, I was saying, Ronnie, to the unfortunate that I did not have the opportunity to have gone to a basic school. Because there was no basic school in my district when I was a boy.
Yes.
It came long after. This is like in the late 30s.
Yes.
Okay. I still am worried about the total emphasis on children between 3 and 6.
Yes.
Because they are easier to control, they are easier to direct. The emphasis is on the highest, the stakes.
That is what Keishia Thorpe is saying.
Yeah.
But when you look at how we devolve the resources for education, Keishia, we spend about 3% of our education budget on early childhood education, by comparison, for example, of nearly 20% on tertiary education. We have to rebalance it. I'm sure you would have a similar experience.
Yes, when we try to. I think we at the high school level we're trying to fix. We're trying to save them. right?
Yes.
We have the savior mentality of saving them at the high school level. And that's when it's too far. That's when we haven't really given them the foundational skills and the interpersonal skills and the soft skills that they need to really be successful individuals in the world. We have already lost them. We have already failed them.
Yes.
And where you're saying that they spend only 3%, that's where we need to spend the most money, the most investment, the most time. That's where we need to really skill those teachers, because again, tabula rasa, those kids come in as blank slates and they're looking for us to fill their cups. That's when we fill it, right? We cannot fill it after society has already put in everything else in there. And then when they get to high school or older, we're trying to reshape them.
Yes.
Because we can't bend them at that point.
We're trying to find a profession for them rather than preparing them.
You put it well.
You know?
You put it well.
Right?
Indeed.
Well, I think you have a full agenda for the summit coming up. And again, we're so much in admiration for the college fair that you have in November. And more than ever, Erwin Clare,
Yes.
grateful to see a Jamaican
Indeed.
doing so well and contributing so much.
And let's not forget, she's one half of a fantastic whole.
Yes.
Because she has a twin sister.
Yes.
But before you go though, tell us the conference, Keishia, is there a fee or persons? How do they go about the registration, advance, etc.? What are the parameters for that?
No, so both conferences, the one in November, the Scholarship and Athletic Convention for students, athletes, and coaches and parents, that is free. That one is on November 5th. Good. The one in January 21, 2023, which is the Global Education Teacher Summit, that is also free. We definitely believe that when we want to make sure that we're creating opportunities and pathway for others, that we do so in giving them an opportunity to have equitable access.
Excellent. Well,
You need to say free to them coming because, you know.
Can't ask for more than that.
Yes.
Keishia Thorpe, thank you so much for being who you are. Thank you so much for relating to us. We look forward to seeing you in November.
Yes, and they can register for both at uselite.org. Both of those, the conference and the summit, at uselite.org.
Thanks so much again. Happy to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Congratulations. I know you. I see that you had political science as part of your.
Yeah, you would have picked that one up.
We have a guest. We have a guest. Erwin, you wanted to say something first?
No. I just want to say that we also have to congratulate her too on that significant prize, gentlemen.
Oh yes, that's marvelous, and she's obviously using it very well.
Yes, indeed.
To everybody's benefit.
Indeed.
Can I welcome Tina Scott? Hello, Tina.
Good afternoon. How are you?
We're well, thank you. I'm Ronald Thwaites. The Honorable Pearnel Charles is my co-host, and Erwin Clare is anchoring at Jam Radio in New York City. Tina Scott, I'm told that you have been raising funds for Jamaican schools in the United States. Can you tell us your story? First of all, who are you? Why are you so interested?
So, who I am a general pediatrician, and I've been in practice for over 27 years. I actually run a clinic in South Miami, Florida, for children that are underserved, either uninsured or underinsured. And I've been on a quest the last year to connect more fully with my Jamaican roots. My mom is Jamaican, and she actually graduated from Alpha, Convent of Mercy Academy, along with two other aunties. And I've been a caretaker for her for the last 10 years. She has frontal temporal dementia. And, looking at her painful cognitive decline, it really sent me on a journey last year to reconnect with my roots. And I started traveling to the island. And on those trips, I had gone initially just for relaxation and just enjoying everything that I love about Jamaica. But I could not turn a blind eye to the ills on the island, from the food insecurity, housing insecurity, and then definitely being a pediatrician, how the pandemic had affected children who were not in school, and especially those children in the rural areas that did not have access to proper Wi-Fi and were falling far behind.
Sure.
And when I came back from a trip in May, I decided that I wanted to do something, even as one woman to help with this new school year. So the Consul General of Jamaica here in Miami, Mr. Oliver Mayer, he had a 5K event in May that I ran in to raise money for medical clinics on the island. And when I participated in that race, a light bulb went off, and I decided, I said, I wonder if I could plan something similar in order to raise money for the schools on the island. And that's how the whole idea was conceived.
Well, that's excellent. And how did you succeed?
Yes, I more than exceeded, my expectations. I've never done a 5K before. This is out of my wheelhouse. But I knew that I wanted to be the change that I wanted to see. And the way that I look at life with any goal that I want to achieve is that I visualize the success, the ending, the finish line. And then all I do is I work backwards to complete the steps. And that's what I did with this fundraiser. So I had already visualized, that it was going to happen. And I just, I got the blueprint, and then I just completed the steps. And I did it in an extraordinary amount of time, because usually to do a 5K event, if anyone knows about planning, it takes about a year. And I had less than 3 months to plan this, because I wanted to make sure that the money was raised before the kids started the school year.
Yes. And Erwin, Claire, this is a model for others to follow, wouldn't you say?
Indeed, and this is something that Doc is to be lauded for, because here again, I'm quite certain that when you bring in heavy hitters in a double pack, such as the Clayton sisters, as they would say, your thing going sell off, and so we congratulate her on that.
Listen, which of the schools have you been able to help?
So I opened this fundraiser up to any primary through secondary high school on the island. For me, it was important that this was that there was equity, and especially because with previous fundraisers, especially when it comes for the schools, it's always the same schools, which is what I was hearing over and over again, and and schools that are more well resourced. So I wanted to make sure that some of the smaller, more rural schools had an opportunity to get money from this. And what I did is that I went to the directory and I basically put into an Excel spreadsheet over 1,300 primary through secondary schools on the island. So anyone had an opportunity to participate. At the end, we raised, my goal was $60,000, and I wanted to also commemorate the 60th anniversary of independence, so that number was symbolic, and we exceeded that goal. We actually almost raised close to $62,000, and we had 67 schools that were beneficiaries from that fundraising effort.
Awesome.
Erwin, I need to really interfere. I say interfere rather than because the kind of Jamaicans that are coming forth, and mostly in education, I want to know whether or not the Ministry of Education, the administrators of education in Jamaica, are being contacted, are being benefiting from these top class Jamaicans abroad who know the thing, because we still believe that it's all good to send them to high school, but you have to have the backup from the government, the ministry side.
If the ministry is up to it, that's a big question.
They're not up to it. We are fortunate to have some of our people. Some went away without any help. And they're willing to help us.
Yes.
We have to make sure that those who are representing us, and it's not only politicians.
I'm asking.
Remember, it's not only the politicians.
So, Dr. Scott, you've been able to help a number of schools. I think an important question is: are you going to continue this, and how can people help you? We're talking to a diaspora audience. Most of the people here went to school. Listening would have gone to school in Jamaica.
Yes. Yeah, and it was an inaugural event, and so I mean, I set a high bar, which I think we exceeded, and yes, the hope is that this will be an annual event, and that we'll even have more participation next year. And I think for me, the most important thing is that this year as an inaugural event, nobody knew me. I mean, I was not part of the Jamaican diaspora in South Florida. And it took a lot of legwork for me to connect with the right people that I needed, to make this successful. So I'm hoping now that we've gotten so much publicity, for this particular fundraiser, that next year that we will quadruple the amount of money that was raised, this year. And I think the message that I am trying to spread, because I just want to say this, that my vision for this fundraiser was that we would raise money two ways. One, through the general registration for the race, which was $30, and my vision was that people would have paid the $30, and we would have had that one pot of money that could have been divided amongst all of the schools, that were beneficiary schools. So in essence, I had made the bar where in order to be a beneficiary, you needed 60 supporters to pay the $30. So
Sure.
essentially putting $1,800 into the pot. And then if people wanted to do a targeted donation to their school that did not get divided among any of the other schools, they had the opportunity to do that. I think that vision was not fully articulated, because what people chose to do was to do the targeted donations to their school and not to put the money in the general pot where everybody would benefit, and we could pull up the smaller rural schools that didn't have as many resources.
Right.
So I need to rethink that next year.
Indeed,
Not to say that the event wasn't successful, but I think that message was not fully
Last question: How do people link with you? Is there a connecting element?
So right now the website is still up, and it's www.5kgallop.org.
5K Gallop.
.org.
Okay, that's the information we need. Erwin, we can certainly disseminate that.
Without a doubt. And that's a point I want to make is that one of the things that we will benefit more from is when we collaborate, because just as how Consul General Mayor would have put on Dr. T to this whole aspect, is that when we collaborate, it can be more impacting. And I think we laud her for what she has done, and I think that this is a blueprint for others to adhere to.
Yes.
Dr. Scott, thank you so much. Grateful for you. Anxious
Thank
to hear
you.
as things go, and let's make sure that we encourage as many people as possible to link with 5kgallop.org and help Jamaican schools. And let's bring all the people from the Ministry of Education and others into the picture as well.
Indeed.
Bless you. Thank
All
you.
Thank
gentlemen.
you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Erwin,
Yes, it's a wrap.
good
And
show
we thank
today.
you. Yes, my brothers.
Yes.
Erwin, I want to buy you lunch today.
All right.
My lunch is congratulations.
You'll have
for
the
the kind of people that you are sending to us.
You'll have the
because
privilege.
they are an inspiration to
You'll have
all
the
of us
privilege.
who are listening.
You'll have the privilege after a tennis match in the future. Have a great day. Have a great day.
I'm coming for that one.
Have a great day. No, you don't have to come. I bring myself.
Erwin Clare of Irish Jam Radio,
All the
linking
best.
with us on the Bridge 99
All right,
FM for the Global Connection. We'll be back after the break. This is the Public Eye. Pearnel, Charles and I are going to keep the discussion going on national affairs until about 1:30, when we join Trade Policy Specialist and Chief Executive Officer of the LASCO Foundation and Advocate for Vulnerable Groups, Professor Rosalea Hamilton. She has a long history at the University of Technology. We look forward to that. I'm acknowledging what you were saying during the break, that the conditions in our country have seen major improvements over the generation of our independence, and for longer periods than that. There's no doubt that is true. But the truth is that there are large numbers of our people who are still in very, very difficult circumstances. And we can't be complacent.
No, we can't be complacent, Ronnie. But what we must do is be fair of our criticism. It is not only administration that is the problem. It's those who are administrating too. It's a major, and don't tell me that they would have changed. There's some people who just telling them they want to go. They're not going to school.
But no, I accept that. And there's no question of blaming governments alone. But governments must lead. And governments must inspire people in order that their prejudices, their hesitations are overcome. And there are some things that are non-negotiable. It cannot be negotiable now that you go to school. You must go to school.
Well, stop right.
And we have laws to that effect, but we do not impose them.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you, because, Ronnie, children are still not all back in school.
No.
And the other day, you see very clearly that teachers are unable to control them because it's just like dropping out. They have to restart.
Look,
a year.
You are perfectly right.
That's a problem.
No, I asked a teacher in a very prominent primary school just to tell me how this school had started. And she told me that her first graders, the 7-year-olds that you and I were talking about, her expression was they are wild. Wild. Because they have been out of school for a long time and they have lost the habits of discipline that we've been talking about earlier on this program. Now, we have to deal with these things in the seriousness, because whereas it may have been possible to find a way of life, even if you couldn't read more than Pat and Rat and Cat. Nowadays, you can't do that, sir.
Yeah, but let's go back to the wild children. They are wild because the system has brought in a lot of younger generation. When an elderly teacher is teaching 10 young children, they listen more. When you now have a 21-year-old young lady graduating from the university as a teacher to teach 16 and 17-year-old boy at one of our big schools.
So why don't we do it right?
What?
Why don't we organize ourselves according to the priorities that will make a difference? You know,
Well, finish that, because let me tell you one more. The big problem is, and if I were a Minister of Education like you, I would make it one of my plank of approach. Why are we not having more men in our schools?
Sure.
Even if we have to pay them more?
Sure.
And you can't pay them more because a teacher is a teacher.
Yes. So we have to look then at the
but
end.
a man,
Yeah,
the masculine of him in a school.
Let me follow your point. It means then that in this budget that is now coming up, because you and I know that this month of October, November is when the budget's preparation for the budget cycle takes place. Okay, yes. It would mean that we would have to look radically at how we are going to spend the money that we take out of people's pocket as taxes. It would mean that we would have to say, to achieve what you're asking, which is so necessary, we would have to say to ourselves, look here, there are some things that we do that we can no longer do.
Well,
but we are going to concentrate on
some things that we have to do.
That we have to do. Now, to my mind, the three most essential things are education, health, and security.
Right.
Okay. So that would mean that, and not just that you throw more money at it and short other prospects, but rather that you make sure that what you are spending is effectively spent.
Let me show to what you're running.
Please.
You have been seriously concerned about transportation.
Yeah.
Particularly our 100-seater and 90-seater buses.
Right.
Where are they going to run a road?
Well,
for one of them to leave Red Hills Road to come down to Half a Tree with the traffic that they're coming in,
sure.
How long do you think it take them?
Hours.
Yeah, right? And guess what? The people are saying the bus is so slow that I have to take a cab, and the cab have to go around everybody.
Yeah.
Listen.
So what's the solution? The solution doesn't involve, in my view, taking away people's rights, but it means placing proper priorities. And some of those priorities are that we certainly, you mentioned transportation. Surely we cannot import any more cars into this country.
Ronnie, hold on a minute.
That's a hard thought, but it has to be taken.
Hold on. I said that to a man, he asked me, Mr. Charles, your wife have a car? I say yes. Him say, you have one? Say yes. and your son drive one to,
Yes, sir.
and him go down the lane. And the truth is this.
Yeah.
He's seriously looking that there are 3 cars in my yard.
Sure. And
I am trying to oppose him getting one.
No, yes, but I'm not. But that you don't.
And I said to him, but you can take you want me to take bus?
Yes.
And you and your wife and son drive past me.
I accept that. I accept that, sir. No. But it's not easy. But the alternative. First of all, there is an alternative.
Yes.
If we had a properly organized transportation system, it would not be such a demeaning thing to take a taxi. If indeed the roads were properly policed and properly ordered, I would be quite happy to park my car at a certain hub and take public transportation.
Let me bowl one at you. What is wrong is to get the nation disciplined towards that. For example, Street X. 10 families live on that street. 3 of them have 2 children going to school or 4 children. The 10 cars that they are driving, 4 of them have 1 passenger.
Yeah.
And they line up from top to bottom.
Yes, sir.
And so, it happened when I was Minister of Public Utilities.
But
So what did I do? I said, hold on now. You have to decide, say, 5 of you live on one street, 2 cars coming out, 3 park. That means everybody have to travel in 2 cars. They say, but I want to go bus, I want to pick up this, I want to go this.
Sure. So, and there some things can work, or some things will work better than other things. It is possible the government has mandated staggered working hours, but we don't practice it. The schools can operate on staggered hours. They don't practice it. There are things that we can do, but this takes us back to our political reality, because none of us in politics are prepared to take the strong, fair decisions on behalf of the people, even when they're difficult. And we can't collaborate enough so that we come with a common front.
Can I speak for those who are not prepared?
Yes.
You want me to do it, sir? And the man I'm going to vote me out.
Yes, sir. But
I guess you tell me, say, then vote you out. That's part of the job. No, sir. You have something to do.
Yeah.
You're a lawyer.
Yeah.
You can't go do this.
Yeah.
Me no have nothing.
Well, that's you shouldn't be in the politics if that is the position. Because if you prize your preferment, you're winning an election so much that you become afraid or compromised to do the right thing for the people who you represent, yes, then your engagement in politics is no longer representational. It is selfishness.
I heard a member of parliament, and I don't want to go too close, I don't want to identify him, raising hell that there's a whole lot of trees growing in him gully, in him constituency. I said, but you get $20 million as an MP. What did you do with it? My care package and this and that. Listen, man. When I was a boy, there was a gully run behind my house, I told you the other day. And anytime my father hear it announced from Kingston, so one storm coming, you know what him say? All of us going in the gully, brethren, the neighbors and everybody. And we clean out the gully.
Why would we not do that now?
No, hold on. That's not why we want to do it. Why don't a man who come down from uptown with a bag of garbage in the back of him car stop at the bridge and throw it over in the gully and say that water will come from rain and carry it through the gully, go down the bottom. And guess what? People live down the bottom.
Of course.
Who are the people live down there?
The bottom of Central Kingston is a receptacle for uptown garbage.
Exactly.
So I'm saying to you now that we have to go to the source and the foundation of these things and decide that we as a people are going to have to define a standard of conduct both for ourselves and our state, which is different from what we have now, but which is fairer, more equitable, and which is ultimately more serviceable and joyous than we are at present.
I don't know if you saw this in the newspaper. Some people live in Central Kingston in a house that don't belong to them. But some mattress and thing throw out and all zinc round it. And they said that rain will move it from them. Ronnie, they wouldn't take it up. They don't clear it.
So
you saw it in the paper?
But having identified that as being a problem,
I put you in trouble.
How do we live? How do we live with it?
Well, let me tell you something. I don't know how we are going to live with it, but that's not the worst, because, as I said,
we are obliged as elders in the system, and still connected. We are obliged to say how that is going to change. We can't accept it and then just go on so.
But the government that tried to change that, you said that that government is a wicked government.
No, it may
because
be
he's going first thing going to tell him, say you can't go live in that whole house.
So look here, it's a popularity. So anything that is going to keep me in power
it's
is okay.
Popularity contest.
It can't work that way, Pearnel. That's a disappointing. That's distressing. You
cannot
couldn't run your household like that.
Yeah, but it cannot work that way, Ronnie. But guess what? You have two champions seeking to get the cup. It's a popularity contest.
So maybe that's why you and I are not in it anymore, because that cannot be the foundation and the outcome of what we call good governance. It simply cannot be. I mean, we're presaging the discussion with Rosalea Hamilton to come up, because I know she's going to raise this.
One quick thing that I did that I will never forget. Because I didn't get a chance to go to a basic school when I was small, and it bothers me all the time, all of my life. I lost that 5 years. Never learned to spell. Never learned the English
right
school.
Now, 70 years after this.
So I made an announcement in my constituency. Any woman, and I say woman, not family, because a lot of women don't have no man there right now.
What a pity.
Any woman that have a child
that
is 4 years old.
For man them.
That is 4 years old. That is not going to a basic school. Come to me.
Come to you.
Because I will check my salary. I don't want no child to pass through what I did.
Exactly, sir. But then, but recognize that on any given day in Jamaica right now, 20% of the school-age children are not in school.
Not in.
Hold on. So how can I justify my continuing representation unless I'm doing something about that? How can I?
Well, you like to ask me a question that you know I can't answer.
No, but and then when people say, you know what? Then that is what they're saying to us. Look again, before we have to entertain our guests, there are a couple of things I wanted to just raise with you. The announcement in the press this week that the Chinese people who own the sugar industry are basically running bankrupt.
Yes.
How on earth could we were in difficulties. We wouldn't reform the industry properly. It went from state-owned to private-owned to back to state-owned, and then we sold it to these Chinese people. And we sit down and make them run down the best agricultural land of our country. Mr. Charles, that is unforgivable. And can you imagine the distress of your son, the minister? Because this is land that is supposed to make Jamaica prosperous, is supposed to feed us properly. And what happened to it? These people who come into it now, they put money, but they can't make money. They don't understand our culture, and so they drop it down. And what is it?
And the reason they got it was because we couldn't use it.
Well,
we didn't use it.
What do we?
Our people never come in.
What do we?
That's it. Listen.
What do we? Are we the children of Ham? Are we the offspring of a lesser God, Mr. Charles?
I don't call that word ham, because that word ham caused a big quarrel in my yard as to who are the children of ham.
As we take a break on the public eye, this is The Bridge, 99 FM. We soon come back. The discussions that Pearnel Charles and I have during the breaks, you see, are full of fire. Both he and I are of the view that me more so than him, that the systems of governance, of economic organization that we have in our society can't take us where we want to go. He's more patient with the present situation than I am. Am I correct? Am I representing you?
Yes, I'm more patient than you, because you have a religious pressure on you that expects somebody to do it overnight. And I know that they're not Christians.
Is that it?
No, this is, you expect that there's a power that's going to come down and make all of us just decide how we're going to do it.
No, but I believe in the power of men's conscience and people's conscience and their capacity for change.
But you have to remove the crown, because once the crown is there,
So what is the crown good for if it doesn't lead you to good works, to the best works? I was saying to you there, let me be frank, what is the point of Andrew Holness, who I believe has the best interests of the Jamaican people at heart, remaining and thinking that he and his administration can take us out of the problems and bring equity to the people, which important small steps will be taken, some very serious backward steps will be taken, when in fact, if there was a greater effort at collaboration, we could make some great strides. What kind of great strides? Well, like provided a decent education rather than a mediocre education system.
As long running as the crown sits up there for the winner to wear, you will not get that what you're asking
what
for.
What a life. Let me welcome Professor Rosalea Hamilton and join us on this discussion. What a terrible thing it is when we can't in fact get any kind of consensus that can take us forward. Hello, Rosalea.
Hi, how are you?
We're fine, thank you. Pearnel and I are well, and we welcome you.
Good. I can hear that you're both well.
Well, we're trying our best. But we have a problem because we are now together looking from where we are coming from. We have seen mistakes and he believes we can solve them. I don't believe that the present system can solve the problem that we have.
What does the Advocates Network have to contribute to the impasse of super competitive politics and low horizons for change in the country, Rosalea Hamilton?
Well, we have felt, many of us who are in the trenches, as you know, both Ronnie and Pearnel, we come to our advocacy from the work we're doing on the ground, whether it is gender-based violence, dealing with at-risk youths, entrepreneurship initiatives, a range of initiatives that try to address the problems. And I think, after 60 years, we've been all reflecting on where we are. And I think we all can agree we ought to have been further and we need to do more. So I agree with putting the feet on the pedal of the gas. We need to move much faster. And we think that certainly from a governance perspective, it really is time to look again at our constitutional arrangements. And by extension, the set of laws and policies that truly can give the Jamaican people a voice. And so our push for, moving the crown, as you say, Pearnel, let's move beyond this old monarchical arrangement we have. But that in and of itself is not enough. We need to go beyond that to say we want a republic that truly is for the people, by the people, organized in the interest of the people.
Let me ask you this.
That will require legal, constitutional policy changes and administrative changes, to get us where we want to go.
If Sir Patrick Allen were the president of Jamaica, or if Andrew Holness or Mark Golding were the president of Jamaica tomorrow morning, how would that affect the price of bread?
Absolutely. I don't think it would. And that's why our clear position is that removing the monarch is not enough. And what we need to do is look at we're talking about unfinished business from emancipation. Let's be very clear. The struggle for self-determination, the struggle for full freedom is what we're talking about.
Yeah, what are the ingredients? What's the ingredients of full freedom for us?
Well, it truly requires us to look again as to what are the kinds of constraints that we have. For example, we're looking at the education system. Are we truly providing the opportunities for Jamaicans to reach their full potential when we saddle them with our education system that we know is not first rate? Many of them, we know a few, you can get good education if you're lucky and if you're well endowed and so on and so on. We understand that. But the vast majority of Jamaicans do not get first class education. And therefore, that will limit their potential.
Tell me something. What prevents us from getting what you think or you're saying is the best? What force, what financial force, what political force comes from London or anywhere that prevents us from being what you and I want us to be? Tell me. What is going to happen? Tell me what. Tell me what.
Our national hero, Marcus Garvey, Bob Marley, has said, we need to emancipate ourselves from mental slavery. I think that's a big part of it. A big part of it. And
my father would say, talk, don't broke jaw. So you can say anything you want.
Well, no, I would like to contribute. I think one of the first things we have to do is start fundamentally. Every child coming into this world or already in this world in Jamaica needs to have at least one person who is really dedicated and in a position to take care of them and to bring them to a point where they are receptive of the education that is offered in schools, which education will have to concentrate much more on character building as it also improves their academic and vocational skills. Those are some fundamental things. Now, we don't have those things yet.
Which come first, Ronnie?
Which we could.
Which come first? Which come first?
Both.
No.
Both.
Both can't come first.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. But the first has to happen is we have to have a renewed appreciation of the importance of family.
Well, and then that's first. And that importance of family is going to give the direction that we want to go.
But we're not encouraging that.
And what does independence?
We are not encouraging that. We are encouraging the reverse.
What independence did for us? Let's put your head back.
No, I'm not going to independence. I'm talking about very specific things now, as your daddy say. Yeah. Talk no broke jaw. Yes. I'm going back to that. So I want to know. I want to be very clear. Yes. If we continue to raise children in homes and in social circumstances, parental circumstances, which make them ill-equipped to benefit from education. Not that the education is right all right now. I don't know how we get out of this thing.
Have you been watching television? The children abroad in their revolution?
I'm not sure I'm going to do that. I'm going to concentrate on what is here. But I'd love to hear what Rosalie thinks.
Yes. Come, Rosie, tell us.
Let me hear.
With respect to the responsibility of ensuring that our children are brought up in a way that is going to allow them to access fully the benefits of education and achieve responsible freedom.
Well, I think the complexity of the problem we find today suggests that there must be multifaceted solutions. It's not one or the other. So yes, we need to make sure the institutions are able and capable of providing the quality of education we want. But the family, yes, is important. We have all kind of evidence and data to suggest that without the kind of parental support, these kids can go astray.
So what are we doing towards that you see? How can we...
I don't know. I think we're tinkering on the edge. So for example, we've set up a parental commission, right? But we've not equipped the commission with the kind of resources that's required to tackle these problems. And I see this from firsthand. Let me say this. I want to make this point because it's such an important point that in the work that I do in the LASCO Foundation, we engage the commission to provide parental support for the teachers, for parents, right?
Sure.
And
excellent.
I have to say, if I was to bet that it was not possible for any group of people in Jamaica in 6 months to convert a mother who is so entrenched in beating that mother, after 6 months of training and intervention, would stop beating a child, I would almost bet that can't be done because we know how ingrained the problem is. And I saw live, right, after 6 months of intervention, that parents told me that them stop beat their people.
So suppose we were to use the mass media, for example, instead of the bacchanal and the frippery of fashion and stush food that nobody else can buy, and really used it in order to encourage interventions of that sort. That would be a major step forward, wouldn't it?
That's true too, but I think also the face-to-face personal interaction and so on, and the kind of experience I saw suggests that we need that kind of intervention, but there needs to be resources. So if we're serious
we have a lot of resources.
Fixing the problem, then let's put the resources behind that. Sure. We see a lot of wasted resources in government.
Got you.
And we have to ask the question, are we serious about solving these problems?
And we have a lot of resources outside of government. We have more churches in Jamaica than anywhere else in the world, I'm told. And
we have more bars.
Persons who go to church supposed to understand the importance of human responsibility. If they were to apply that with as much vigor as we sing choruses to the people around them, to children who are seen walking on the street, to the mass of unattached youth who we want to lock up for 15 years. I'm not saying that some don't deserve it, but rather than providing some useful therapy for, then things would be different. My view is that we have lost the sense of value of the common good for each other, and we do not have an ideology of equitable development, and we unfortunately have a system of political economy which is taking us in the wrong direction.
Randy, can I just jump in on the point to make? The ideology. We don't have an ideology that's going to allow us to work together. We don't have a political system that is going to allow us to say what you have. Hey, and I guarantee you.
You hear him say, you hear who saying that, Ms. Rosalie?
Hold on.
I'm hearing and listening very carefully.
Hold on. I tell you better than that. I've been out of politics now 2 years. I've been sitting around my computer for probably 3/4 of the time, and I am concluding that the present system cannot do what you want.
Well,
I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you, Pearnel.
This is why
the present system that we have, that have everybody drowning for the crown, cannot do what you and I want, and we'll never do it. Well, and therefore, all the talk we're talking, jargon broke.
No, that is why I treasure the arrival of the Advocates Network, because it seems to me that if more and more people feel that they are disposed towards solutions and are not tied and shackled by the structures of the past, maybe we can see elements of change. What do you think, Rosalie?
Absolutely, but I think Pearnel is onto something there. I think enough of us have recognized that the system is not working, and let's be clear why. Because we've not changed fundamentally since our independence. The structures that were not set up to empower the people of Jamaica. It was set up in the interest of a few. And what we see today, 60 years later, is that the system is only able to support and make very comfortable and, quite frankly, very wealthy a few people. The majority of Jamaicans are not getting what they deserve. A system that's supporting them, supporting their own efforts to find their own solutions. That's the story of entrepreneurship and small business.
I'm prepared to repeat. The present system cannot unite the Jamaican people to get what we are talking about.
So let's agree. That's the case. Now the question is, how do we fix it? And I think we need to start. You made a point, Pearnel, that the political system is not set up. I think we need to start there. It's a good place to start, because that's where a lot of resources are. That's where our policy lies. So let's think again, what kind of political system do we have? And how do we fix it? And both of you, gentlemen, are well placed to answer that question.
Well, if they would follow what Ronnie and myself now represent, which we didn't represent 2 years ago. Ronnie wanted to talk. I tell him can't talk. Ronnie carries something. I say, you can't come with that. I wearing a cap because I say I represent the Queen. And I'm not leaving until I get rid of the Queen.
Rosalie, I have to laugh. When the two of us were in Parliament, you see, every Tuesday I would go with my different motions and questions to the Speaker. And that's what you have to do. And he would run me more. He would always be nice to me, but he would run me all the time, saying, "Can't allow that one. Can't do this," because each of them spoke to the structure and the inadequacy of what we have created. We're glad for
right, but then it's not fixed, Ronnie. It's
No,
not fixed. We
no.
can change it.
Yes, we can't change it. No,
Yeah.
but the pressure is going to have to come from the base. It's not going to come from those who are wielding power. Or
Of course, the
or
base
whose
coming
identity.
after COVID. After COVID, the base is suffering.
Yeah.
Everybody's under pressure right now in Jamaica.
Well.
Everybody's just trying to survive.
Yeah.
So I think that we have to look elsewhere in terms of those of us with the capacity to understand what is happening, the wisdom that both of you gentlemen bring, and couple with that, those of us who are able to spend the time to do the kind of advocacy. Let's do what we can. It may not be enough, but we won't know until we try. And I would want to put on the table that you gentlemen put a serious proposal on the table, because it can be bipartisan given where you both come from.
Well, I'm putting the
prepared through the Advocates Network to back on up, if it makes sense.
Well, but let's do the shorthand. I'm prepared. I feel that the early proposition has to be one for some kind of proportional representation, which leads to a sharing of power between the strong political and other interests in the society. I understand that it that it can be laborious, that it may cause some amount of gridlock, but it cannot be worse, and it need not be worse than the prime ministerial dictatorship that we have in place now, which is not serving our purposes.
Let me bounce one.
Absolutely.
Let me bounce one with you, Ronnie. Every time that you, representing the PNP, gets up to speak to a PNP audience about the shortcomings of the JLP government,
Right.
you are saying to the PNP audience that the JLP audience are enemy.
No, I can't do that anymore.
No. Hold on.
I can't do that anymore.
You can't do it.
That's how it's perceived.
You can't do it now.
Yeah.
But you and I, in order to get them to support me, I have to tell them you're enemy.
No, I can
And for you to tell them to get your support, they will say that I didn't do it.
because of the existing system. And what I am now saying is that I do not wish to do that anymore. I am loyal to the principles of the party that I'm a member of, but I will not use it to denigrate others who I think have a useful role to play in the governance and liberation of this country, in its emancipation from mental slavery. And it is an evidence of our shackles of mental slavery if we remain bound to that system that, as Rosalie points out, we have never freed ourselves from. We borrowed and thought that it was a good gift from Westminster.
You hear the man shouting, you hear that man shouting in his office saying, yes, Ronnie, you say it the right way now, but I used to say it that
and
way.
I'm prepared to
I'm prepared to join you.
Responsibility.
That I myself was of that view.
When I know better, I do better.
I'm putting a proposal to both of you gentlemen.
Let me give you a little quick one. When I was in Parliament, when I was in Parliament, and the PNP was asked by the police to give them 3 more weeks. No, ask the government to give them.
Where are you going back to that?
To give 3 more weeks.
Where are you going back to that from?
No, because I am trying to show you that it is still there.
Yeah, we
the
do.
JLP
but we know.
and the PNP.
We know right now.
Yes, so we know that.
So tell us how.
Pearnel, if I may.
Let us start to talk about how we're going to do it.
That's what she's doing.
And I'm suggesting that both of you, given the dialogue you've had over the months or years, given your wealth of experience, put a proposal as to the alternative structure of government Jamaica needs now. I am prepared to say I will talk with the Advocates Network. We are a broad cross-section of individuals, organizations, including the churches. And let's see if we can together come with a package that we can sell to civil society, all aspects, private sector, churches, and so on. Ronnie, you can sell to the PNP. Pearnel, you can sell to the JLP, and let's see if we can find an answer. So that when we go to a referendum, the united voice that speaks to the structure of government, among other things that we absolutely need to turn our country around. Let's do that. It's within our hands.
Well, I think we're making the first steps now. It's a prodigious task, but one that I do not think can be avoided because of its difficulty. There is no hope. Nigel Clark nor whoever will be the PNP Minister of Finance cannot massage the system. They could do better than we're doing now, but they cannot massage the system in a way that is going to provide the opportunity, not the entitlement, the opportunity for the majority of our citizens. After 40 years in representation and politics, there are many things that Pearnel Charles can claim that he initiated and did. But in fact, the majority of the people that he represented in St. Thomas and in Clarendon remain in the same morass of poverty that they did before. The same is true for me in Central Kingston. So you have to ask yourself why. So what you do, you get the title and you get little preferment and you get a whole heap of derision, and you look and you probably compromise your fortune and your family and your health, and at the end of the day you say, could we have done better? And I think that what you're challenging us and others to say, yes, we can.
Yeah, absolutely.
I thank you.
So that's the next step, gentlemen. I'm going to call you.
Yeah.
Let's hear the proposals. We have some. We're working through our own as well. And let's see how we can meet a common ground and really put something forward.
Rosie,
to the
well, tell us before you go.
Rosie, when you go, Rosie, looking at the history, we are running Thwaites and myself met years ago called The New Beginning, where it's not today we think about this.
No, but it's not.
I know.
But why are
That's why I say, who better to put it together?
Oh, Lord.
Who better to start the ball rolling?
We'll and come again. The Advocates Network is having a forum called King Charles III Change, not Continuity for Jamaica, later this month. Can you tell us a little as you go?
We will announce the date shortly. We're still trying to settle on the date, but we really want the Jamaican people to begin this conversation about what it now means for to have a head of state that we didn't choose. We simply got this person by way of a tradition of an institution that has oppressed, brutalized, and enslaved our ancestors and have really contributed nothing to the society and the economy of the Jamaican.
And which our Prime Minister is the Privy Councillor, our previous Prime Minister is also the Privy Councillor.
Absolutely. of which everybody in Jamaica needs to get a visa, including the King's own representative in Jamaica needs a visa. To go
really?
to
Poor
London.
fellow.
That is where we are.
Ronnie is going to court tomorrow, and he's not going to look at the judge and say, my lord.
No, I'm going to call him sir or ma'am.
Sir?
Yes.
Or ma'am.
So what?
Not sir like Sir Patrick Allen. Sir, because I refer to him with a term of respect.
You see, to be honest with
you, not a title of dubious honor.
Rosie, take it from me. I'm one who is interested, but my years there, 50 odd years in the parliament, in the governance of this country, the government, pro and con, are independent otherwise. I feel it. I know it.
Time come.
And I'm worried about it. So
who said that? Time come.
Yes, absolutely. Time come.
Thank you, Dr. Hamilton. Keep up and much credit to the LASCO Chin Foundation. All the best, and the Advocates Network. And thanks to all those who have made this program possible.
Thanks for having me.
To you, Honorable Pearnel, your honorableness is not from the Queen or from the King. It is from the people of Jamaica. And that makes all the difference, you see. Thanks to LaFane, thanks to Jeffrey, thanks to Romy, thanks to all of our guests today. Those wonderful educators who we had in the first section, who are doing so much for Jamaica in different ways. We're grateful for their spirit. We're grateful for their activism. We're called to service.
I want to quickly close to you that I hope that much of the people who are helping abroad will get in the administration of education.
Well, that's good.
But, it's good to be giving the children help, but our administrators need more of how to push it to them.
That's it for the public eye and the open mind for the Bridge 99 FM today. We look forward to your company next Wednesday, live spare and God willing.